The next hour of Good Day Wisconsin starts right now.
And we begin this morning with severe weather coverage. Parts of the area have been getting snow this morning, others seeing rain and freezing rain. That has streets and highways slippery. So here's the DOT's driving conditions map. The red you see showing highways that are ice covered. The pink means the roads have slippery stretches, and the blue areas are snow covered. It's causing some school districts to be on a 2-hour delay or to cancel. Director of Meteorology Pete Petoniak takes an accurate look at the forecast.
Yeah, earlier on we had a little bit of freezing rain even in Green Bay and the Fox Cities. It changed over to rain about 3 hours ago because temperatures at the surface continue to rise. And now let's get a closer view. Still have some snow to the North Marinette, northern Door County, northern Oconto County as well, getting some snow and rain from Green Bay and areas to the south because the temperatures are, for the most part, above freezing. But it's 32 in Marinette. Here's a live picture from our Marinette camera and our Shawano camera showing 34 degrees, so it's above freezing there. Some rain and some light rain there right now. Again, the temperatures are key. From areas from Green Bay to the south, they're above freezing. To the north, they're at freezing or below freezing. So here's what's next for us. This will hang around the precipitation until 9 o'clock this morning. Rain, freezing rain, and snow to the north. But later on today, after some morning fog, will become partly sunny. It'll be a mild weekend, and it'll be mild today, high near 40. Now, our next weather maker is Saturday night into Sunday. Right now, it looks like mainly a rain event and snow to the north. I'll talk more about that in 7 minutes. Rachel?
We have breaking news from Ashwaubenon, where emergency crews are dealing with an incident at Green Bay Austin Straubel International Airport. Lauren Khalil joins us live with the latest. Good morning, Lauren.
Good morning, Rachel. Good morning, everybody. We spoke with a passenger on that United flight that is behind us right now who said that the flight, when it touched down, it skid off the runway. Now, that plane was coming from Houston, supposed to land in Minneapolis, but because of severe weather, they had to turn around and land here. That's when he said that there was a ton of turbulence, and then as they landed, that's when they began to skid off the runway. It was a very stressful night for everybody. They were up in the air for a long time because of the storm that was in Minneapolis. And this is what he said, though, when they finally touched down.
We were just happy that we were finally given a place to land, because after being up in the air and refueling and giving it another time, it was, a lot of turbulence up there, and we're in the middle of a snowstorm.
A very long evening for several of those passengers. From here where we're standing, then they had buses shuttle them inside the airport, and that's where Justin Steinbrink is live right now. People are still waiting to figure out exactly what's happening. Justin, what's going on inside?
Back inside here, Lauren, yeah, a lot of these passengers have had a long night of flying, landing, flying again, trying to figure out where they're going to get home, or at least to their destination, which was Minneapolis earlier on this morning. The line that was quite long earlier on this morning, probably stretched 50 to 75 people long at least, is now dwindled down to a couple dozen here. Folks who are still waiting to figure out what their day will hold, trying to get to the final destination of Minneapolis here from Green Bay. Many of them either are given the option to take a bus or to find a hotel. Some of the folks I spoke with talked a little bit about how they wish they may have been able to spend the night in Madison, because this is Lisa with me right here. You actually landed in Madison at one point, right?
We did.
And you thought maybe you could call it a night there and try to figure out things from Madison, but they put you back in the air to try to see if they could try one more time for the Twin Cities?
Yes.
Yeah. So here you are in Green Bay. What's your hope now for the day ahead after a long night of awake and traveling?
That we can get on this plane that they promised us, and that we can land in Minneapolis.
Now, Green Bay not expecting this, obviously, this morning. What would you say about the service that Green Bay has been trying to provide, at least, given the unexpectedness of having this plane land here?
Lack of communication, no direction. I would say it's pretty poor.
Yeah, they have been handing out some food, a little bit of water to the folks here, offering them something after what has been a long night of travel for many of them as well, trying to get home. Dan here behind me as well is from the Houston area originally, where we began. Oh, you're from Minneapolis, but you work in Houston, right? I work in Houston. So you said you actually felt the jolt when you guys landed here in Green Bay, and did you know you'd slipped off the runway?
At the end, yeah. You felt it as you dropped into the grass.
Yeah. So what was it like at that moment? Was there a little bit of concern within the cabin, or what were folks' reactions?
No, not so much. I mean, at that point we were going relatively slow, so but it was clear that we were going to go off the runway, to me at least, and we had run out of time.
Yeah. So what is the ultimate goal for you today? You looking for a flight then out of here as well, not doing the bus thing?
I'm looking to lay my head down. Get some rest.
I know it's been a long night.
Get some rest.
Thank you for your time, Dan. These folks, many I've been watching as they've been coming out of the line. Many of them are being offered hotel vouchers to try to get a little bit of sleep after that long overnight before flights, which I believe one gentleman told me that flight taking off around 1 o'clock, hopefully from Green Bay, if we can get our weather to improve here as well. But that's the latest from inside the lobby here at Austin Straubel International Airport. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Justin. Justin Steinbrink and Lauren Khalil, both at Austin Straubel Airport this morning. Federal investigators are now looking into a deadly plane crash in Indiana. Indiana police say the plane, which was coming to Green Bay, was carrying at least 3 people. Investigators say everyone on board was killed, but they don't know exactly how many people were on the plane. The small plane took off last night from an airport near Indianapolis. The FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board will lead the investigation. New from Fond du Lac, a 34-year-old man is under arrest after a shooting. Police say it started after 7:30 last night when officers responded to an incident on Linden Street. Witnesses said the suspect claimed to have a gun, but no gun was shown, and the suspect left before officers arrived. About a half an hour later, police saw a man matching the suspect's description on 3rd Street. Officials say the man tried to run away, and at one point, he fired a shot. No one was hurt. No officers fired their weapons. The suspect was arrested, and he's being held on a probation warrant.
A Florida high school is getting ready to take the next steps after a deadly shooting. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School will reopen to staff members today. Last week, Wednesday, a gunman opened fire at the school, killing 17 people. Students will return to class next Monday. The suspect, a 19-year-old former student at the school, is facing 17 counts of murder. There was an armed school resource officer at the school when the shooting happened, but officials say he waited outside the building as the shooting unfolded. The sheriff says the deputy, Scott Peterson, waited outside for about 4 minutes without ever going in. Peterson was suspended without pay, then he resigned. President Trump also said he supported the idea of raising the age for buying assault rifles to 21. The NRA has said it's against that proposal. New from Sheboygan, 2 people were arrested last night in connection with 2 school threats. Police say the threats weren't credible. Officials are reminding people to report threats to them, to parents, or to school staff. Schools in Sevastopol were locked down yesterday because of an online threat that was made in Ohio. Deputies say a parent reported that their child saw a social media post about a possible shooting at SHS, just those initials. They contacted the FBI and learned there were similar reports across the country. Some parents took their students out of school. The lockdown was lifted after officials determined the threat wasn't credible and not aimed at Sevastopol.
Up next in Brown County, more witnesses will take the stand today in George Birch's murder trial. Birch is charged with killing Nicole Vanderheiden in 2016. Investigators say his DNA was found all over her body, and information from his cell phone puts Birch at key locations on the night of the murder. Yesterday, Vanderheiden's boyfriend, Douglas Dietrich, was back on the stand. The defense says Dietrich killed Vanderheiden, but he denies those claims. And Fox 11's Ben Cromwell has the story.
Please raise your right hand.
After hours of testimony the day before, Douglas Dietrich took the witness stand again Thursday morning.
It's just a very emotional time for me.
On May 21st, 2016, Dietrich and Nicole Vanderheiden were unable to reconnect after being separated during a night of heavy drinking. Dietrich says he also took Adderall and smoked marijuana. Defense attorney Lee Schuchert focused on the following day in his questions to Dietrich.
Still didn't call the police?
I did not at that time, no.
Because you knew you didn't have to?
I don't know what you're... I mean, I was starting to get concerned, and because I figured she was out, if she stayed out late, that she was probably going to sleep in as well, and probably feeling it similar to me, hungover and tired.
Dietrich testified to calling police at 4:30 that afternoon, 17 hours after he last saw his girlfriend alive.
You wanted to hide any proof that you were involved in her murder, so you took a shower before the police came.
Objection.
After an objection from the state, Dietrich did not respond to that remark. Dietrich was excused from the witness stand without George Birch ever being mentioned. The rest of the day's witnesses kept the focus on Dietrich and searches of his home and neighborhood.
He pretty much lost it. He was crying, sobbing.
Deputy Jason Caters and Detective Lee Kingston were among the first to interview Dietrich. They told him a body found 3 miles from his home had similarities to Vanderheiden.
He became upset, cried, in my opinion, acted appropriately to that situation.
Matthew Peterson lives across the street from Dietrich.
I went out to mow my lawn at about 10 in the morning and came upon an area in the front of my yard that was had a significant amount of blood.
Peterson says he called police after learning the body that was found could be that of his missing neighbor Vanderheiden.
I decided that blood was probably from an animal. I didn't even think about the possibility that it was a crime scene.
Peterson also testified to finding a cord in his yard. Investigators have previously said that they found Birch's DNA on that cord, and they believe he used it to strangle Vanderheiden to death. In Brown County, Ben Krumholz, Fox 11 News.
So far, 27 witnesses testified during the trial. The trial is expected to last another week.
A Mishicot area man is dead after the bulldozer he was driving went off a road and into a ditch. The crash happened yesterday in the town of Gibson. The Manitowoc County Sheriff's Office says the bulldozer overturned in Jambo Creek, which is partially frozen. The 67-year-old man was pulled from the water and taken to a hospital but didn't survive. And the search continues for one person who is still missing after a fire in the UP. The fire started Wednesday morning in Ironwood. 2 people were killed in the fire and 3 others are still in the hospital. It's not yet known how the fire started, but police have said it's suspicious.
A plan is moving forward to possibly give new tax breaks to Kimberly Clark. The State Assembly passed the measure yesterday on its final day in session. The bill would give Kimberly Clark the incentive package if it doesn't close 2 Fox Valley plants as planned. The closures would put about 600 people out of jobs. The bill now goes to the state Senate. Kimberly Clark has not said if it would accept the tax package. The Assembly also passed Governor Scott Walker's proposal to give parents a $100 per child tax rebate. The bill also sets up a sales tax holiday the first weekend in August. Republican supporters say it would be good for families, but Democrats say it's a political stunt by the GOP. It's not known if there are enough votes to pass the bill in the Senate.
Southern Wisconsin has dealt with flooding problems this week, and it's a similar story in other parts of the Midwest, too. Heavy rain, melting snow are causing rivers to rise. Officials in parts of Indiana and Michigan have declared a state of emergency. The floods are being blamed for at least 3 deaths. As the water was rising, some people had to evacuate with just the clothes they were wearing.
We'll worry about material things later. Right now it's just safety.